Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Combermary people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Christy Kijarina. It's Monday, September 4. In Squiz Kids Today, states prohibit plastics, a squelchy celebration, India's solar investigation, and a bull rides shotgun. That's what's making news kids style.
The lowdown.
We all know that plastics are problematic. Sure, they help us keep food fresh and some of our favourite toys might be made of it, but plastic waste is a serious issue. Not only does it look bad, but plastic bags and wrapping can be a huge hazard to birds and marine life. And when plastics break down, they release all sorts of nasties into our environment. That's why Friday's announcement by the Queensland, Western Australian and South Australian governments banning more single-use plastic items is big news. All three state governments have banned the production of cotton buds with plastic stems. Queensland and WA have also banned those polystyrene packing peanuts you might have seen if you've ordered something fragile online. And WA has banned polystyrene cups and the trays you might buy your meat on in the supermarket. Meanwhile, South Australia has outlawed the plastic bowls and plates you've probably seen at birthday parties. Queensland has also banned the mass release of balloons. But if it's so important to ban plastics, why don't we do it all at once? Well, businesses who use those items need time to find alternative solutions. But you, as the customer, have the power now to choose alternatives when they're available. You're in control. Make good choices, people.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a new story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Buñol, a town in Spain, where I have a joke for you. What's red, slippery, and smells like a tomato? The entire town of Buñol after the annual Tomatina Festival. This year, 120 tonnes of overripe, squishy tomatoes were dumped in the centre of the town for more than 15,000 residents and tourists to throw at each other in what's said to be the world's biggest food fight. For an hour, the participants, wearing swimming goggles to protect their eyes, joyfully hurl the squelchy tomatoes at each other, literally painting the town red. The festival is thought to have originated way back in 1945 as a spat between two vegetable cart owners and has grown to a huge event, drawing people from all across the globe. There's a link to photos and video in the episode notes. And the best thing? Because tomatoes contain citric acid, which is a great cleaning agent, the town eventually ends up cleaner than when the festival started. Win-win.
Spaced out.
We've heard so much about moon missions in the last few weeks. But India's Space Research Organisation is taking things more than 1 million kilometres further, successfully launching a mission to the Sun on Saturday. The mission will take 4 months, and the spacecraft will only make it 1% of the way there. But that's still a really long way. The idea is for equipment aboard the vessel to observe the outermost layers of the Sun and the enormous amounts of plasma and magnetic energy that it throws off. See, this energy can damage and even shut down satellites that orbit the Earth, which are essential for communication, GPS, and Netflix. The hope is that scientists will be able to predict when a mass coronal ejection is going to occur and send a warning back to Earth so that we can shut down the satellites and prevent them from being damaged. Imagine a world without Netflix. I'm not sure I even want to think about that.
Animal Kingdom.
Have you ever been riding in a car on the highway and looked across to see something strange in the car beside you? Drivers on a Nebraska highway in the United States last week saw something they won't soon forget. Because farmer Lee Meyer really loves his prize bull, Howdy Doody. So much so that he treats him as part of the family, even occasionally taking him on a ride in the family car. Mr. Meyer had the car adapted, removing part of the roof and windscreen and replacing the front passenger side door with a yellow cattle gate so that Howdy Doody can ride up front in the passenger seat. Yes, photos are in the episode notes. The car's usually used in parades, but on this day, the police spotted them on the highway. Because the bull was so well behaved and as long as Mr. Meyer returned straight home, the police decided they'd only give him a warning. I wonder what they could have charged him with. Maybe a moving violation? Too early in the week for a pun? Hey kids, before we get into today's quiz, a reminder that later this week, Bryce will be sitting down with Federal Education Minister Jason Clare as he takes the hot seat for our next Squiz Kids Q&A, the podcast where you, the kids of Australia, get to ask the questions. This is your chance to ask the man who's in charge of education and schools in Australia any questions you like, as in any questions you like. Maybe you want to ask him how he does his job, where he went to school, who was his favourite teacher, and what were his favourite subjects. Maybe you want to ask him what it's like to work in Parliament House, whether he's as worried about fake news and misinformation as Squiz is the Newshound, or what his number one goal is as Education Minister. Or maybe you just want to ask him why we have to go to school at all, or why canteens don't give away free ice cream. It's up to you. You're in the driver's seat. Jason Clare is in the hot seat. Teachers, parents, feel free to send in a bunch of questions from your class or family. The more, the merrier. But you'll need to hurry. We need your questions in by this Wednesday, which doesn't give you a lot of time. Send them to squizkids@thesquiz.com.au and we'll put the best 10 questions to the minister when we sit down with him.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What overripe fruit do the people of Buñol, Spain, throw at each other during the Tomatina festival? That's right, it's tomatoes. Question number 2. What is India's space agency trying to protect by predicting the sun's huge energy releases? Great work if you said satellites. Question number 3. What is the name of the bull that farmer Lee Meyer had in the front seat of his car on a Nebraska highway? Of course, it's Howdy Doody.
Shout outs.
It's September 4. Eat an extra dessert day. Now there's a day I can really get on board with. And a huge happy Father's Day for yesterday to all the dads and other men that are out there who play a special role in caring for kids. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today and tomorrow. Dorothy from Sherwood, Aidan from Rod Point, George from Kangaroo Lake, Lucas from Tennyson Point, Samuel from Wattle Grove, Alison from Balmain, Tian Ka from Heidelberg West, Erissa from Doncaster, Hayden from Birrong, Maya L from Oak Park, Jonathan from Montmorency, Kayla from Davidson, Tess from Condoblin, Mariano from Ryde, Poppy from Abbotsford, Bob from Western Australia, Rochelle and Chase from Sydney, Grace from Chifley, Alexander from Kings Canyon, Lachlan from Goulburn, Ashton from Willow Grove, Greta from Darwin, and Maya from Freshwater. A belated birthday shout-out goes to Harriet from Batteau Bay, Rocco from Cowra, Roman from Northcote, Sonia from Carlingford, Amelia from Rooty Hill, and Sienna, Ava, Brody and Lexi, all from Pakenham. Classroom shout-outs today go to Class 5K and Miss Kime at St John's Anglican College in Forest Lake, Class 6G and Mr Gasser at Merimbula Public School, Class 5H and Miss Henson, Waterford West State School, Class LAT 31 with Mr Baston at Harrisdale Primary School, and lastly, but not leastly, to Class 5 Red and Mr Routh at Holy Trinity Primary School in Curtin. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you want a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. That's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow with a Squiz the World episode about Afghanistan. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.